Right, we're in a workshop in Worcestershire.
Shropshire.
Oh, Shropshire here.
It's in
Blimey,
Shropshire.
Riley. Okay, and yes, in the den of one of the dens of a very famous builder, Mr. Roy Wilding, who's
Hi
going to be
guys.
talking to us today. And you know a thing or two about this drag racing lark. You seem to have you've been doing it a little while.
Yeah, I've been actively involved with the hot rods from approximately 40 years plus, probably nearer 45 years.
Wow, so right since the 70s.
Yeah, from me customizing days straight the way through to today.
Customizing day. So you started out on the street.
Yeah. My early sort of, well, it was more street racing at one time. It was like the mini pickups with the Cooper S engine in.
Right.
1440 engine I had in mine, and very rapid pickup truck that was in its day. Then we went on to the Cooper S's. Then we did the Ford Angular route
Yeah.
with a 2 litre Pinto in it. And then Wayne Saunders, who now lives in Denver, Colorado, and he's a brilliant painter. He's won accolades for Chip Foose
Ooh.
in America. He got a classic Capri, and it's still one of the car I would like to have. He put a mural down the side of the car in the graveyard scene, and I went, wow. And at the same time, he'd got a Model Y called Machine of a Dream,
Right.
and I thought, I've got to have a custom car. So I started my first pop probably 45 years ago, which is still on the road today, actually.
Is it?
Yeah. It's still on
Wow,
the
and
road
you know
today.
where it is and everything.
It's the other side of Birmingham
All
somewhere.
right. Oh, so a minute ago when you were talking about street racing, where are these streets that you're talking about?
Oh, we used to go to Birmingham to the T-Wagon, the old train station, and rag it round
Oh, yes, I've heard about this
Birmingham.
T-Wagon.
Yeah,
Blimey, right. So, yeah.
way back. I mean, the big names at that time were Johnny Barr, Ray Hill, Ken Stamps, Graham Young, Ian Young. Graham is still
Still
actively
around? Yeah,
involved.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know those guys.
Way back then, it was like Alan Martin, Martin Payne,
Yeah.
Steve Tristram, all them many years. Steve was a bit later, but yeah, all those names from
So
way
many of
back.
them still around, still in it.
Yeah, some of them
Yeah.
still in it. Yeah.
Wow. So anyway, sorry, I do apologise. You started your first custom, your pop.
Anyway, I started. Excuse me. Yeah, I started my third Ford Pop and hadn't got a lot of money, so I worked with what I got. I rented a garage for £3 a week off an Indian guy in West Park Road, Smethwick, and all I got was one little bulb, excuse me, on the end of an old flex cord
Yeah.
as a light, one socket on the wall, and I sort of boxed the chassis in my Ford Pop, put a Jaguar rear end under it, a Triumph HBHC. It was a coilover shock.
Oh, the
The
Viva.
old Vauxhall
Yeah,
Viva.
yeah.
It wasn't the leaf spring, it was a coilover shock.
With you.
And that gave me fully independent suspension all round and disc brakes all round.
And was this scrapyard parts back then?
It was all scrapyard parts out of Ray Scrapyard in Phoenix Street in Smethwick, basically.
Right, yeah.
Oh, Galton Bridge,
Right, yeah.
Smethwick, and then Phoenix Street in West Bromwich. All had a scrapyard parts way back then.
Yeah.
And then I put an MGB engine into it, and it wasn't very quick. And then one day I was going to work in me Granada, and somebody ran to the back of me and wrote it off, and that engine basically ended up in my Ford Pop, which is a
3 litre V6, yeah.
V6, yeah. And then that got sold off to Clive Meanley, who's still in the sport. He lives over the other side of Birmingham by Birmingham Airport. Then Clive brought it back to me. He says, "Can you take this Jag back axle out of it and put me a Sherpa 4-bar link
Right.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
says, you don't want to do that, Clive. I says, it'll just rattle the fillings out of your teeth. He said, no, I want it done. So he did, and it rattled the fillings out of his teeth. He says, I wish I'd never got you to do it now, Roy, but you live and learn, he said. On the back end of that, I met his brother, John Meanley,
Yeah.
who actually got me into my first serious drag, well, half-hearted drag racing car, the
Right.
old Buick Nailhead.
Right. Okay.
He introduced me to custom chrome at Nuneaton,
Yes.
Nigel and Graham Swift. And they'd got this dragster chassis, and it was under all the exhaust pipe tubes in their main workshop.
Yeah.
It took us half a day to move all the tubes to get to the chassis.
Oh, just a bare chassis then.
Just a bare chassis.
Right,
Yeah.
it was a slingshot style.
It was a
Yeah.
slingshot style. And I believe it had got something to do with Alan Herridge, this chassis from years ago.
Whoa. Okay.
That's the story I was told through Clive Meanley. And John Meanley. John Meanley. Now, John Meanley goes back to when Bembo and Fullerton used to race, and Rick Fielding, and a lot of old names, weren't the big names in drag racing, but names in drag racing.
Yeah.
And as I say, John introduced me into Nigel and Graham Swift at Custom Chrome, and I ended up with the chassis. And he acted as my crew chief for many a year thereafter.
Right. Okay.
Sadly, John's passed, and it was one of those horrible days where I actually went to 2 funerals on the same day. Sad day. I still get emotionally upset. But yeah, life has got a habit of playing nasty tricks on you. But I've had that happen to me as well.
Yes.
And to the people who know, they know what I'm talking about.
Quite.
So yeah, I got into this bit, and then I needed an engine. And I thought, what am I going to do? And I thought, I don't want to build it out of junkyard parts. And all of a sudden, this Nailhead 332 came to life, a custom chrome.
Rare piece, sure.
Yeah, it was a rare beast, even rarer today. They're fetching strong money. Buick Nailhead stuff is fetching strong money. And manifolds are going for about 800 quid a cast one. It's like stupid. But now, when I think that I had 13 engines years ago, stripped from an old banger racer guy, I wish I'd got them now, because it'd make a small fortune.
Nice retirement pot.
Yeah. But anyway, I'd done a deal with Nigel's and Graham's father, who used to work at Rolls-Royce development. And he'd done a bit of work and blueprinted the engine and got it balanced. And I ran that engine for, must have been 8 years.
Good grief.
Never broke nothing. And I'll always remember, and I won't mention his name, and an old chassis builder. He says, that thing will never run 80 mile an hour down the strip. And I thought, nah, get out of it. It's a V8. It's got to run a lot faster than that. Anyway, I took it to the track, and I got these little 7-inch wide Kelly Springfields on it.
Right.
I'd got an old commercial box with just 3rd and 4th gear in. No first, second, or reversing.
Right.
We used to burn out. You had to push me back manually back then. And the first time I went out, I got 89 mile an hour of it. I thought, there's something wrong here. It's got to go quicker than this. And then I did a couple of runs in it. I thought, well, mid-track, I'm running out of RPM. I'm running out of gear. So I looked at it, and somebody had sold me what was a Westminster diff, and it wasn't. I was looking for like a 3.9 diff, and I ended up with a 5.2 diff.
5.2? It must have been out of a van or something, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, or something, the 4x4 that went up the hillsides or something like that. Anyway, I was a bit naive, and you learn by your mistakes. Anyway, I went out, bought its 3.9 diff. Prior to that, actually, before I had the 3.9 diff, I had a 4.54 and a 4.2 diff. And every time I put a smaller number diff into it, the car went faster because I hadn't run out of RPM.
Yeah.
I wasn't cruising from an 8 mile onwards. Anyway, eventually we got the car down, and it was a pretty stock Buick engine.
Yeah.
We went from 89 mile an hour to 131 was the best day ever had.
Good God.
And we went from 13.8 to 11.0 flat.
11.0 at 131.
131
Because
because
that's a 9-second speed, that, isn't it?
yeah, but we was using the 7-inch wide Kelly Springfields
Right, okay.
as a
Quick
slipper
took.
clutch, basically. Old school.
Right, okay.
Lower, the mile per hour was high, ET was low.
Right.
And I don't understand it until this day, really, but that's just how it was.
It worked.
Anyway, this chassis give up the ghost. And we was at Long Marsden, and I remember Mark Bensley and John Bensley. John has sadly passed. Mark, still a mate of mine. We still keep in touch to this day. In fact, he lives over this area by me. He lives closer now than he ever did. And we met the chassis. So we thought, we got to get this right. We were going racing. It was on my birthday weekend as well.
Right.
So we got it in the pits, put the chassis on some blocks. We got a couple of blokes on the back, 3 blokes on the front, and there is video footage of this somewhere. And we jumped on the chassis and got it straight.
High tech?
Anyway, high tech, yeah. So we were full of enthusiasm. We didn't know what we were really doing back then, truthfully. We put it back on the deck, and the chassis started to sag. We thought, oh, that ain't good. So we repeated the process, went into the barn down at Long Marsden, got some rusty old metal, made some fish plates, welded them on, job's a good one.
Right.
Out there next day, we won the meeting.
Wow.
It was worth every penny. Anyway, I thought, well, this is time to scrap the chassis, make a new chassis, which is what I did.
Right.
And that was the start of me building chassis way back 35 years ago, possibly a bit more.
Okay.
So
mid to late 80s sort of thing.
we carried on, progressing with the Buick Nailhead, and say we ran 131, 11 flat. Well, it was 11.002.
Wow.
There's a tale to tell here. There's a pattern here to tell as well. So then the engine expired. So I thought, right,
this was the original engine, the original Nailhead?
Yeah, the original Nailhead.
How many years did you get out of it?
Probably 8 to 10 years. Yeah.
With nothing more than
Never
a refresh?
broke anything. Never broke anything. The only thing we used to do was change the oil every 2 meetings and put petrol in it.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll always remember the petrol tank at the time. I wanted a moon tank and I couldn't afford one. So I welded 2 saucepans together, aluminium saucepans, and put a jug filler cap onto it. And that was my fuel tank.
And did it work?
It worked perfect.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
I'm having that too.
Yeah. So we was looking for an engine, and a mate of mine says, why don't you go to see Ian Orford at the Jensen factory?
Of course, West Brom, though.
West Brom. Yeah. And I used to live in Albury.
Right, okay.
So off I toddles down to the Jensen factory, asked to speak to Ian Orford. I didn't know he was the managing director, but he was big into drag racing.
Right.
He got a Dodge Dart.
Ooh.
And it was a rare beast then. It was a quick car back then, but he never used to take it to the track very often. So I'd done this deal, and I bought this Buick 430 minus rocker shafts.
Right, okay.
So I thought, well, okay. And I bought an automatic gearbox, TH400. I took that straight down to Colin Smith's. Sadly, Colin's passed. His son does gearboxes to this day.
Right, yeah.
He's up in Halezone somewhere.
Right.
We put the 430 in minus rocker gear. So I went back to my old Bangor Racing V8 hot rod mate. He says, I've got some rocker shafts for that. So we bought a pair of rocker shafts, something like 50 quid back then.
Ooh, that's steep, wasn't it?
Was back then,
Yeah.
possibly. Put them in, and we ran that Buick 430. The only thing we ever broke on that was one valve spring in a 10-year period.
Bloody hell.
We changed the oil regularly, changed the gearbox oil regularly. I had a gearbox failure once, and then we just changed the filter, and it was perfect after that. We ran it and ran it and ran it. And here's the one now that ran 141 mile an hour
Right.
on a 10,002.
I'm seeing a pattern emerging here.
Yeah. So we got 11,002
Yeah.
to 10,002.
That's a really frustrating time to run.
But it was my luckiest car. We used to dial 10.1, 10.247. Every meeting we ran 10.247 to within thousands.
Wow.
On a bad day, it was to within hundreds. It was a lucky car.
Bloody hell. And what class were you running in then?
It was like it was BD22, the cars, because there was a lot of power to weight ratio cars.
Oh, right, yeah.
But mainly it was the APRA, NDRC. It was NDRC, APRA. Then it went to APRA. And then the Wild Bunch formed then, didn't it?
Right. Now, what year did the Wild Bunch sort of come into being?
I think we're 28 years down the road with the Wild Bunch.
Right, okay.
From memory, I think the initial...
that would make it 95.
Some year, 95, 96, something like that.
Oh, of course, next season will be 96, yes.
Yeah. Claire Meadows is the one on the fax, the Wild Bunch. She's a treasure. She deserves a medal. Yeah, and I was the founder member with a guy named John Guthrie.
Right.
And then Chris Hartnell and Claire Meadows followed on a bit later with Trev Merritt. And then obviously the committee has changed over the 28-year period. And it's still running successfully today.
Fantastic, yeah.
And the Wild Bunch was actually, you pointed out earlier on today, the Wild Bunch was inducted into the British Drag Racing Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
As a club.
Oh, a club rather than a club. Okay, right. So what prompted it to come into being? What made you think we need a class for this?
The Wild Bunch started because at the time there was a bit of politics between Santa Pod and Avon Park.
Right.
This was prior to Keith Bartlett. I mean, what Keith Bartlett has done to Santa Pod is absolutely fantastic. And excuse me.
Yeah.
To criticise is easy, but Keith has put his money where his mouth is.
Yes.
And I think deep down everybody believes that he's a businessman first and foremost.
Of course.
But he's got a passion for drag racing.
Yes, yeah.
And you can't fault him for that. Anyway, at the time, there was a lot of politics going between Santa Pod and Avon Park. And people wouldn't race at the park, and the park people wouldn't race at Santa Pod. And I thought, this is stupid. So John Guthrie and he used to run a car called Quiet Riot, and I'd got me Chariots of Fire.
Right, yeah.
Sorry, it was just called Mr. Slingshot back then.
Right.
Which turned into Chariots of Fire.
Okay.
We said, let's get all the competition cars together, shall we, John? And yeah, why not? So we got on the phone and we managed to get a register from Wendy Talbot for all the people that have got a competition car.
Right.
So we phoned them individually. It used to cost me a fortune. And John, for that matter.
Yeah.
But I always think what goes around comes around at the end of the day. So we got on two of them and we got quite a selection of cars at the first meeting. I think it was about 16. And Avon Park hadn't had 16 comp cars there in a long time.
Right. Well, when was this first meeting? Can you remember?
Oh.
And was it early in the year?
It was like, I can't remember specifics, to be honest
Right.
with you. Work on about 27 years ago.
Right.
Um, and it was successful. There is a lot of footage, courtesy of Jerry Cookson,
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
on YouTube and
Right.
all
Of
the rest of
course.
them.
Yeah.
Anyway, what sparked it off, Joan Cummins from ATV Today came and interviewed me
Right.
a few years later, and he got bigger and bigger since then. But the initial idea of starting the Wild Bunch came from Bob Nixon, who runs in Outlawed Angular,
Yeah. Pop guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Pop guy,
Yeah.
and he produced Outlawed Angular.
Right.
I
Okay.
had got a pop at the time. That was my second pop
Right.
with the 430 Buick engine.
Okay.
Yeah, I've actually gone forward. I've got to backtrack a bit now.
Right.
I
Okay.
bought the 430 Buick and put it in my pop, and then it came out of my pop and went into me newly built chassis slingshot.
Right. Okay.
And my pop got sold off with a Rover V8 in it, which is still on the road today.
Another one.
Yeah, another one.
Blimey.
Yeah.
And oh, so that was a street car then.
I used to race it in Outlawed Angulars at the
Yeah.
very beginning, but I'd got the slingshot and the pop.
Right.
The idea was to tow the slingshot behind the pop to the meeting.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, but I ended up putting it in the trailer.
Yeah.
Anyway, time moved on. We went to a meeting, and Brian Burrows was a promoter of
Cool. Volkswagen scene. It was.
Volkswagen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Brian, we became very good friends, Brian. I haven't seen him for a long time. If you hear this, Brian, I hope you're keeping well, mate. He went along to one of his meetings, and I says to Brian, I says, well, where are we then, Brian? And he got signs dotted around all around the pits. And he says, you're here. And there was a stake on the floor with a plaque on, because he was into the sign making.
Yeah.
He says, you're there. And he said, Wild Bunch. And I said, oh, that'll work.
Oh, is that where the name came from?
That's where the name came from.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, there's been a lot of takes, and that is definitely. Brian Burrows invited us to a meeting. I asked him, where are we, Brian? There were stakes all over the floor with the class numbers on. He didn't know what to call us, so he called us Wild Bunch, and it stuck.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Brian. Nice one.
Yeah, Brian Burrows. You can thank Brian Burrows for that.
Wow.
And we had a success, and he supported us well.
Yeah.
And then a bit later on, Terry Gibbs got involved with the class.
Yeah.
And thanks to Terry Gibbs, he encouraged us to go into MSA meetings, which the Wild Bunch still do to this day. Which it's an honour to have. It's a niche class, and there's a place for it. And I think at any one time, I think at Dragstalgia, I think we nearly had 50 cars turned up in the class once.
So it didn't start out as a sort of a nostalgia class.
No, it was like there was no class for the comp cars to run in.
Yeah.
You had to mix in with everybody else.
Right.
So we formed it at Avon Park. We didn't run at the pod at that time. And because the lifestyle events weren't available like they are today.
Of course, yeah.
Thanks to Keith.
Yeah.
We got a lifestyle meeting every other weekend apart from the big meetings, haven't we?
Yep.
All the way through the year. So, yeah, that was the start of the Wild Bunch. And then a bit later on down the road, I formulated Supercharged Outlaws.
Right, okay.
Which was about 12 years in the making now, something like that.
Right.
So, yeah, my first trip to the Hall of Fame was on the back of me being the founder member of the Wild Bunch Nostalgia Racers.
Fantastic. And it has, that class has been strong now. I mean, since I remember it when I first started.
They're tending to do more lifestyle events now. I think that's just the way the world is today. People have only got so much money in their pocket.
Yeah.
And they're picking and choosing what they do and what they don't.
Well, I mean, it has become sort of firmly a nostalgia class.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, I think that would it have been the first class that you could have called a nostalgia class?
I think it's the only class that's been a nostalgia class, really.
I mean, I know a lot have come along since with
Mm.
super stock and so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is big now. I mean, you look at an event like Dragstalgia,
Oh yeah.
it's huge. It's like the Goodwood revival for Santa Pod, isn't it? It's superb stuff, and you guys are the stars of the show, really.
Well, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, because I run the nature of the car I got now fits into supercharged outdoors. I'm still passionate about the Wild Bunch to the fact that I've now built another Buick Slingshot, which Elaine is going to drive,
Fantastic.
and that'll be debuted this year,
Ooh,
and with the Wild Bunch.
excellent.
Yeah.
At what the Hot Rod Drags, Nostalgias, or?
As soon as everything fits in and drops in,
Right.
basically.
Okay.
I don't want to put a specific date on it at this time.
Fair enough.
I've got too much going on, to be honest.
Yeah, I've just had a look round, and you really, really have.
Uh,
Well, that's fantastic. So yeah, what prompted the Supercharged Outlaws then? Was it like a splinter from the Wild Bunch, or was it always completely separate?
at the time, there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's a bit dangerous. You've got like sort of 7 second cars running down 13 second cars. The catch-up speed is
Yeah,
too
yeah,
much."
yeah.
So I took this on board, and I was on the. I used to represent Avon Park at the tech committee,
Right.
and it was always talked about there. So I thought, well, yeah, something's got to change, and I know sounds like it's been stage managed. It's not. I bought the old Hemi Hunter car,
Yes.
and I actually stuck a Hemi in a car that should have had a Chevy in.
Right.
It now has got the proper engine in the Hemi Hunter chassis now, and Jim Osher drives it for Matt and Steve. I'm just trying to think of the surnames. Mum's gone. And he's running like low sevens very
Yeah.
successfully. So I had the Hemi Hunter car, and I ran the 392 Hemi in it, and then I started to build another chassis. I'd built other chassis in between, and then I built a big chassis for the big slingshot that you see me drive regularly,
Yeah.
and have done for 10, 12 years now, I suppose.
Grief, must be.
It's got to be somewhere down in that. I can't give it a specific date, so I'm useless. I'm useless at names and useless at dates. I can remember a face. But yeah, so Supercharged Outdoors started, and that's a successful class now.
It has
And,
been, yeah. And again, another sort of showstopper, another crowd puller.
yeah, it's we do get recognition, and it's just nice to be part. I think I've been 45 years, and I've still got the passion now.
Fantastic.
And even like the younger people, so I don't know where you get your energy from. And I just think the sport keeps you actively, mentally, and physically. And I just keep on going. I'll go as long as I can.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And like you say, still going strong, talking about debuting new cars next year, and you've got all your projects on the go right here.
Yeah.
So aside from Elaine's car and anything else in the and any more dreams for what's coming next?
We're standing in one of the workshops where you got the Citroen 2 CV.
Let's take a step back and have a gander. Oh yeah, nice concours restoration. I don't think. So yeah, good old Jasper Carrot. What do you call them? Upturned pram. And this one is going. What you called it? Old school.
It's old school hot rodding. Yeah.
Because yeah,
Jag IRS rear end, Triumph Vitesse front end, a box section chassis based off Jago Ford Pop, Rover V8 engine, 4-speed auto gearbox. In and ahhing if to carburate it. It'll be carbureted initially. Ideally, I'd like to turbo it. But,
whoa, right, okay.
I've mixed feelings at the moment. Mixed feelings.
But I mean, by and large, this body shell is, as it sits right now, pretty stock to the naked eye.
Yes. Yeah.
But it is going to be street car.
Street car. Yeah,
Fantastic.
definitely street car.
And it's not going to have a soft top.
No, it'll be a proper filled-in roof, bit of a spoiler, bit of a splitter on the back front. American 5 spokes front and back.
Brilliant. And what prompted this idea then?
Well, I've got a mini metro, and I was going to do a 6R4 for Hill,
Oh, yeah.
which is outside on the
Yeah.
on the road there. And I thought there's too many been done. I thought I've got to do something different. So this was the obvious choice. There's too many pops.
Obvious choice.
There's too many pops. There's too many metros. I thought, what hasn't people done?
And you're right, they haven't. No, I'm sure there's been like what I think it was actually French. There was a race.
There was French guy, and then there was 2 attempts in this country. One was called Doodlebug, I believe, and then there was another one. Was it Metrodome? Was it Metronome? I'm not sure. Anyway, I know there's 2 attempts at Citroen 2 CV's been done,
right?
But they were mainly race cars, not
yeah.
street cars.
Fantastic. Yeah. Oop. I can see in here. So you say it's Jag rear end?
Jaguar RS rear end.
Yep.
We may be able to lift the boot and you can possibly get in there.
Oh, brilliant. Wow. That's proper. So yeah, I mean, well, it is like a nice sort of flyweight body shell to go over. It's almost like a street-based funny car.
Well, it is. It's super light. I can't believe how light the doors are without the glass. I've got a pair of doors the other side of this car, off a 1928 Model A. These 4 doors probably weigh about as much as the one door of the 28 Model A. Times have moved on.
Yes. And yeah, because they're all one pressing, aren't they? Wow. Yeah. So yeah, this is going to be this is going to stop some traffic when it comes out, isn't it?
I hope so. You'll have a full roll cage in it, chrome moly roll cage. And then the paint scheme, we're looking at a grey main body, black wings, and then highlighted my famous green paint for all the highlights.
Right. Oh, for anybody who doesn't know, that's the famous green. So like Kawasaki style green?
It's sort of. It's about 5 or 6 shades deeper than Kawasaki green.
Right. Brilliant stuff.
I say everything's mock-up at this moment in time.
Of course. And yet you still find time to get stuff done.
Well, the best thing I ever did in life was retire. And
but you seem busier than ever.
Just backtracking to the people who know. 5 years ago, as you well know, I dropped down dead in the workplace, and I'm lucky to be here today. And Futura Design looked after me very, very well. So I used to build concept cars back then.
Right.
And Mark Abel and his father, Dave Abel. Dave Abel and I were apprentices together when we was 14, 15-year-olds, not those kids.
Yeah.
And we used to fight the world, and we knew everything back then. We knew naff all, to be perfectly honest. They really looked after me, and he gave me a redundancy package and offered me my job back in the same breath as a contractor rather than a PAYE.
Right.
And I accepted the offer, and I got used to being retired. I've got no desire to go back to work. If Mark was to ask me to get him out of the mire, I would go back.
Of course.
Because they treated me fantastically for Futura Design. To the point that they used to sponsor me at one stage.
Right.
I bought me a brand new fire suit, which was $1,800.
Good God.
And
mind you, were you running nitro at the time?
oh no, this was on alcohol.
So you need a
Yeah, I
yeah.
just bought
It's
an
not a
old.
set of overalls, is it?
No, no, it's
Like,
brand new set of fireproof 20-20 race
right.
suit.
Yeah.
I always went over spec on the safety.
Fair enough.
Thanks to Mark Abel and Paul Cadman at the time, who were the directors. And they used to let me tinker with my cars inside the factory as well.
Cool.
So that was a plus plus.
Brilliant
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
you say these guys were building what concepts, prototypes?
Yeah, concept cars for JLR, Ferrari,
Wow.
Mercedes, Volvo. Anything from little three-wheeler sort of scooter type electric cars to hearse, to like GT type cars,
Yeah.
to everyday cars that went out. And they used to pick up a lot of work from Jaguar Land Rover.
Yeah.
They're based in Coventry now by Baggington Airport.
Right. Okay.
And Dave Abel and I, he was the founder member of Futura Design. He and I were apprentices, as I say, when we were 14 or 15. So I'm going back 55 years. And a little tale to tell you. He was always in a competition, and it was a national competition for pattern makers, which is where I'm based from.
Right.
And Dave Abel, Nick Moss, and myself were in the top half a dozen in the competition way back then.
Right.
I never actually won the competitions in the 7 years of apprenticeship.
Yeah.
I was always the bridesmaid.
Always the runner-up.
Dave Abel was very slow and methodical.
Yeah.
Nick Moss was quick and a bit more methodical than me. And I was always a tear ass.
Right.
I could turn a job round quick.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's got its advantages and disadvantages. And we went steaming into this one competition this one particular year. And I bonused the job by about 18 hours. I did it 18 hours within the allotted time. And then I stood back and I looked what I produced, a pattern and a core box. And I looked at the core box and I went, I've made the core box the wrong hand to the pattern.
Ooh.
And I thought, oh.
Dash it. Yeah.
Beat that one out. So I got to the bandsaw, salvaged what I could, repeated the process, but a right hand instead of a left hand core box. And I was 2 hours over my allotted time. Basically, I'd got the competition in the bag,
Yeah.
but I cocked up because of tear arsing, basically.
Right. Okay.
And Dave Abel won the competition.
Oh, did he ever let you forget this, man?
It always played on my mind for best part of 30 years. Every time I thought of Dave Abel, I thought he won that competition I was going to have. And the competition was for an outward bound week's holiday.
Right.
And I thought, to this day, he used to wind me up. Anyway, I was in Albury, where Futura was based at the time. I didn't know they was based at the time. I thought there was at Garrett's Green in Birmingham.
Right.
I met Ian Young
Yeah.
in the local cafe, Angelo's Cafe in Albury. I says, hello, Ian. I says, fancy seeing you over here. I says, what are you doing? I says, I'm working at Futura in Albury. I says, Futura ain't in Albury, it's in Garrett's Green. I said, I've been trying to get to see Dave for about 20 years and I've been a bit lazy about it, never got back. He says, no, they ain't in Albury. And I didn't believe him. I didn't ask the question, where in Albury? So Ian went, walked out the door, I said to Angelo, just put my sandwich to one side, followed Ian to where Futura was, and I thought, oh, that's where they are. I'd passed it half a dozen times, never bothered to read the sign above the door. Futura Design. So a week or two later, I went to the reception and I says, is Dave available? He says, have you got an appointment? I said, no. I says, we go back 35 years or more. We used to work together as apprentices. He said, any chance I could see him? Anyway, they phoned upstairs. He says, yeah, you can have a quarter of an hour with him. So we picked up on old memories and all the rest of it. And we touched on this outward bound competition. And before I went, I said, Dave, you really ticked me off back then. I says, I really wanted to win that outward bound prize with the competition. He says, Roy, if I know what I know now, he says, I'd have given you it. He says, I hated every minute of it. And I just burst out laughing. I says, that's bugged me for 35 years, Dave. He says, you would have loved it, Roy, he says, because I knew you back then. He says, you was up at 6 o'clock and they'd kick you out of bed. You'd have to get your swimming trunks on and your towel, down and jump in the lake at 6:30 in the morning, freezing cold. You was up and down trees, shinning up and down rock faces. This, that. He says, I hated every bloody minute of it. I says, God, blimey, I said, I would have loved that. He says, I'd have given you it if that was the case. But, and again, thanks to Futura's Design, they supported me very, very well.
Yeah.
In whatever I wanted to do. And if there was spare time at work, they used to turn a blind eye and let me get on with it.
Brilliant.
So, with my pattern making skills and obviously all the other skills that I've got over the years, it allows me to do what I do today. And obviously, the biggest part of what this is you've got to get the tooling to execute the jobs at the end of the day. And I've been thrifty.
Right.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, definitely. Right, are we okay to go and have a look at some of the other other projects you got on the go?
Yeah, fill your boots.
Right, in which case I shall press stop. Right, so just outside here we've got. I thought the 2CV was a peculiar choice of ride. What's the idea with this, which looks like a Reliant Regal?
It is a Regal, yeah.
Yes.
Mark II Regal.
Tamworth's finest. What's?
Well, basically. I had an altered, but it had to go for my own reasons. More or less, it's to put double glazing in the house. And I thought, I've got a lot of bits hanging around me at the moment. I've got enough bits here to make a race car. And I've got a chassis on the go at the moment, which you'll probably see in a bit. And I thought, what would be different? I just want to something different again. I thought, nobody's done one of these. I says, and if they have, when I say nobody's done one, in the style that I want to do it.
Right, okay, so I'm guessing it's not going to have 3 wheels at the end.
No, it won't have 3 wheels, it'll definitely be 4. And I thought, I'll make a gasser type altered, similar to Lee Johnson's Volvo that's on the strip, that type of.
Right, okay, yeah, I'm having that.
And that was the plan, to do something like that. Not as aggressive as Lee's, but that style. And Elaine was on the Facebook. She says, it's in this here, they're giving fiberglass bodies away. I says, nah, 3-wheeler fiberglass bodies. I says, yeah. He says, the catch is, you get the body for free, but you have to buy the door panels, the boot panel, the bonnet panel.
Right.
And the brackets and the hinges, they all come as separates. So you buy into a body, and you have to buy all the individual parts.
I get it, yeah.
And it's out in Herefordshire, this guy. I just can't think of the guy's name for the moment. And I thought, that'll work. I thought, well, it looks like a Ford Angular at the back.
Yeah, yeah.
A big set of slicks underneath. Centre steered car. Put some sort of 8 spokes or 5 spokes on the front. Make it gas start.
Yeah.
Then I started looking what choice of engine. And I've got three ways this could go. I've got quite a few Rover V8 parts floating around. As cheap as chips, but how quick do you want to go? How much commitment do you want? The second choice was I was talking to Wacky Mick at Wacky Speed Shop. I'm talking to Kevin Jenkins, so I was looking at the red top 4-pot Cosy with the turbo one, and they say to make 5,500 horsepower, it's quite easy. And I thought, well, lightweight engine, lightweight body, lightweight car, 550 horsepower. It's got to go.
That is going to be a handful. Yeah.
Then I thought, well, I've got my spare KB engine, box, clutch, bell housing.
You've got to love anybody who's got a spare KB engine.
Yeah. And I thought, well, I could put that into the altered and that would be really stupid. The added bonus to that is if it's up and running, if I have a disaster in my big slingshot, I can change engine or vice versa.
Right.
So that's my new train of thought at this moment in time.
So I take it this is one on the back burner for next job sort of thing.
Well, the chassis is on the go.
Yes.
The back axle's on the go. I've been talking to Jeff Hauser.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a good working relationship with Jeff. And I've been potentially talking to 1 or 2 potential sponsors.
Right, okay.
Not in the form of cash, in the form of product.
Right, okay.
I've yet to get answers back at this moment in time. But, you know, there's powder coaters, there's sign people, there's upholsterer people, there's this, that and all the other. And now I'm not sort of earning the money like I used to at Futura Design and relying on pension. Anything's a bonus.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, anything's a bonus.
And the thing is, this isn't even the only fiberglass Reliant you've got going on. Should we step into the office? This is the Famoso Annex. And this is something, I can't even remember the last time I saw one on the road. It's a Reliant Ant.
Yeah, correct.
Also built in Tamworth with the same engine as a Robin or something like that.
Standard Robin engine, 850.
And again, signature green. So what's the? Did you rebuild this yourself?
Story behind this is I used to live in Albury.
Yeah.
And my crew chief, Mark, works at Precious Metal Recycling. And next door to that there was a company that does a lot of art projects. And this used to belong to Samwell Council.
Right.
And it was part of a project. And it had got a commercial haulier side down the side, logo wise.
Yeah.
It was in red and pretty much as you see it now, but in a poor state. So I totally stripped it down to the bare chassis, went through everything, nut bolts, everything, and you see what you see today.
Right, okay. So it is basically an almost stock rebuild then?
Yeah, a restoration. Basically.
Yes.
Yeah, total restoration. There's a few little things that have got to be sorted out. Wing mirrors have got to be sorted out. Last bit of carpet inside. Just a few little bits of snags. But it's been one of these things in moving from Albury to where we are now. It's been put on the back burner about 10 times.
Yeah, yeah.
But it'll be out this year. Well, this year coming.
Because I can see you're saying this lovely diamond plate interior.
Yeah,
That's a lovely interior. Those seats are just really, really basic, aren't they?
Yeah, well, that's thanks to Chris Irvine.
Right.
His logo's on the side of the trailer, if you care to buzz round on the front there.
Ah, right.
There you go.
That Chris Vining.
Chris Vining.
Yes.
And he does. I get him to do all my updates, to be honest.
Right. Oh, he's pretty bloody good.
Oh, very good. I was introduced by Chris by Wayne Norman.
Of course. Well, again, he's probably not that far from here, is he?
No, he's not. No, about 15 minutes apart.
Right.
Yeah, carry on.
So there you go. Tiny little engine compared to what you normally see in this this garage.
Cowell went away this morning to Barry Woodford.
Yes. Another Outlaw Anglia chap.
That's correct. Just before you come, he's got doing the upgrades over the season, and did a few little jobs for him this morning. Anyway, he's took the centre cowl away to be sprayed green.
Matching green. Yeah. There's a lovely engine turning going on there. Where do all these panels come from?
Second?
Where do all these engine turn panels come from?
I made all those.
Oh, in the little workshop along the way?
No, in this
Oh,
workshop
right,
here.
okay.
Yeah, it's basically all those a rotary wire brush in the pillar drum.
And patience, I shouldn't imagine.
And patience.
Brilliant.
But yeah, it's just got a few bits of snagging to do, and that's it. It's a calling card basically, and we're going to put a Lane's logo on the side.
Fantastic.
That's that Cool Art engine. Cool Art Engineering, that's right.
Yeah.
There's my new slicks for next season.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thanks to Jeff Hauser.
And this is the chassis you were talking about a minute ago?
That's the chassis, and the three-wheeler stroke four-wheeler will be dropped over the top.
Brilliant. And you were telling me there was a tail behind this chassis.
Yeah, it's quite a lengthy tail, but basically. But originally, I believe this chassis was built by Bill Filstead. It's obviously gone through one or two hands in all the years. It's quite old chassis. It's chrome molling, and at the moment I'm making it over spec. The cage, the tube on the roll cage is one diameter size up.
Right.
The wall thickness is 20 thou extra. There's quite a few extras that doesn't need to be there, but it's an add-on to the chassis.
Right.
If this chassis was built prior to that upgrade, you could do that. The new chassis have a piece of tube inside the tube, and they have a joint here.
Right.
But this has got both. It's got the modern day upgrade and the extra tube.
Got you. Okay. Well, it's your head that's going to be in there.
Correct.
So
I'm looking at probably putting a second set of rails, helmet rails around there to bring it to modern fuel car spec. I've got an extra diagonal in there. This was the old way of doing things, but the angle of that is not acceptable today.
Right.
So we've had to put it into modern day spec where you've got an upright there. So this is extra now.
Okay.
Then I've put another bay in, that's an extra. That's an extra, and then that would be original. And a lot of these tubes are spec'd up over diameter size.
Okay. So, I mean, you must have seen how the rules have changed over the years for construction of things like this.
Well, the construction regulations...
Oh, there you go.
They have come out in that sort of format.
Right.
This is 10.3 and 10.1e.
And these are from the SFI people?
These are all SFI stroke plans, and they give you options of different types of, and they also give you, as I explained there, a tube inside a tube for the main frame.
Got you.
They also then give you that upgrade I was telling you about.
Aha.
That extra tube that you can put inside there.
Brilliant. Right.
That's just a quick summary of what I've got there. I'm looking with this one is that putting more triangulation in the floor pan
Right.
area, and because basically once you've got your engine inside there, that needs to be fairly rigid towards the
Of
back.
course, yeah.
And then what I've actually got to do then is I'll put in some hockey stick type, so we'll have another set of rails basically.
Yeah.
Then you'll have triangulated rails inside that, and then we'll have a welded cross braces, 2 of across there to hold the steering.
Right, okay.
This double type frame that goes over the top of there,
Yeah.
that stemmed from an upgrade from when John Force had his accident. They redesigned, and that was part of the plan.
Right, okay.
It isn't something I've conjured up, it's something that they do today.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I say, you must have seen the rules change over the years from...
They
people-
haven't changed drastically.
I think people always think that at the start you could have gone out with a bedstead and raced that.
Well, that's pretty much how it was 40 years ago. In truthfulness, when I was into drag racing, I'd had a few cars. I bought a few cars that used to go quite quick, and they used to allow them to run quite quick. And then when they come to a spec, they fail tech.
Right.
But I mean, it's a thankless job, really, telling you that you bought a car in good faith, then all of a sudden it won't spec up. And you've got to start again, basically.
Yeah.
But the sport has been cleaned up drastically in the time that I've been racing, to be honest.
Well, the thing is now, I mean, I follow along with Street Eliminator, I crew for my friend James in Street Eliminator.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've got street cars in the 60s.
Yeah.
Which when I first started going, back in the late 90s, I remember a street car ran an 8 and the bank was on its feet.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's a big leap, that now. So things have come on incredibly. You got...
Well, look at Andy Frost with it.
Well, exactly, yeah.
Was it 5 something? No.
Yeah, he ran
5.9.
5.9 in an IVA'd street car.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So bonkers, isn't it? So things have moved, and we've come a long way from your, what did you say, 7-inch slicks that you were running,
Kelly Springfields, pie crust 7-inch Kelly Springfields.
and now we're on these. Good grief!
Yeah.
And yet there's still hot rods going on. Are we all right to look over here?
Yeah, this was a Mark Alsop, to call him Del Boy.
Oh yeah. I didn't know this was Dell's.
How I come to sort of work for Dell, I did a job for Steve Tristram,
Yeah.
who's part of the National Hot Rod Association in this country. They run hot rod drags in the Nostalgia National.
Yeah.
There was, at the time when that formulated, there was Mark Fullard, Martin Payne, Alan Martin and Steve Tristram.
Yeah.
We used to call them the famous four. And funny, some of the names I've mentioned today, we was on a curry night over Christmas.
Yeah.
And Steve was there, Martin Payne was there, Alan Martin was there. And Ian Young was there, Mark Alsop, Delboy.
Yeah.
He was there, and quite a few hot rodders from way back. Some I hadn't seen in 25 years or more. And yeah, I got introduced to Dell through Steve Tristram. and this is just a job that I do a bit, lay off, he accumulates a bit of money, we have a deal.
Yeah.
And yeah, it keeps my racing going at the end of the day.
Excellent stuff. It's a lovely steel 28A.
Yeah, 1928 Model A, all steel. There's a lot, to get it to this stage, there's a lot of work. There was a lot of rust on this.
Yeah.
Serious rust. I mean, you attack it with a welder, it was like welding Aero chocolate.
Yes. Fireworks.
It wasn't pleasant. No, it's not pleasant. So we get in there. It's upside down at the moment. The chassis has been done. That's soft down in the blasters, powder coaters.
Right.
No, sorry, it's down the blasters. Then it's going to Barry Woodford, I believe.
Oh, he's painted it.
And Barry's going to paint the chassis.
Cool.
That's right. And then obviously the body's got to go. It'll be at undercoat stage for the moment, while we mount the body fresh back on.
Right.
This then will go into undercoat. The chassis will go away again. That will get put into top coat.
Yep.
The body then will follow.
Right.
At a later date. But there's still quite a bit of work to do. There's some rework got to be done. Change of plan, basically.
Yes, plans change in the middle of the job.
But yeah, so Dell's Boys engine's on the floor, ready to go to get washed and cleaned and
good idea.
lightly machined, and then you'll come back to me. Dell and I'll put that together.
Cool.
Long-term project.
Brilliant stuff. Well, so for a man who's saying, "Oh, retirement,"
Oh, it doesn't stop there.
It seems like you got more going on than ever.
I'm pushing into the motorbike and scooter scene a little bit.
Oh lordy, right, okay.
Which I'll take you there in a bit. Now I can't sit in front of the TV. I've got to be doing something.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Brilliant stuff. Right.
And then obviously I've got my machinery which backs me up at the end of the day.
And these aren't.
Places a bit upside down at the moment.
Yeah, but this isn't toy stuff over here, is it? This is some serious engineering work. Brilliant. Oh. Excellent.
And every sign's got a tale to tell.
And there are a lot of them.
Yeah, even in my pod bug, which I think you've been.
Yep, the outside love is better decorated than most. Nice one. Right, so we've come indoors to look at the two-wheelers. We've seen the three-wheelers and some four-wheelers. So what's the story behind these two then?
Well, basically a bit of an impulse buy.
Right.
Both of these were going to be pit bikes.
Okay.
This Triumph Tina, and a lot of people don't know that Triumph made scooters.
And this would have been in Meriden by then? Or?
It would be, yes.
Yes.
It would be.
So again, not a million miles away.
Anyway, this is basically 100cc, 6.1 cubic inch. Basically 100cc. Twist and go, Variomatic Triumph Tina.
Yeah, it says automatic.
Yeah.
Wilding special. Aha.
That was a bit of a Mickey take from Ash, who used to be on the race car team.
Right.
Yeah, he's got his own business down Blackheath way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy, Ash. You know, and it come in a box of bits.
Yeah.
I bought it at a motorbike sort of thing in Lincolnshire.
Right.
And
Oh, hello, Pop.
my mate lived in Lincolnshire at the time, so we got the seller to drop it at my mate's, and then my mate delivered it back to me back in Birmingham, which was quite a while ago. And it's become an ornament.
Right.
There's too much value in it to probably go and get it destroyed, to be honest. When I say value, it's not big value. It's valuable for what it is.
Yes.
Then the Villiers, I was looking for another pit bike, something cheap and cheerful, and I was looking for a Honda Step Through.
Right.
And I got there, I knew there was one for sale, and somebody had bought it 2 minutes before I got there.
Of course, yes.
And it was mint, ready to go. In fact, the guy drove it out of the facility. And then I was walking up, and I says to Elaine, I said, oh, look at that. And Elaine says, oh no, you're here again. And I looked at it and I thought, I gotta have that. And I was speaking to the guy and I says, look, how much is this Villiers? He says, it's X amount. I says, is that your best price? He says, well, I can move a bit on it. I says, well, look, has you got a logbook? He says, yeah, I've got it here. Does it run? Well, it did, he said. I says, look, if you can get it running, I'll buy it off you. And you say you got the logbook. I says, and you're going back to Buxton. I said, you got to pass my house on the way back if I buy it. Would you deliver it? And I'll give you the money as soon as you get it. And it was favourable for everybody.
Yeah, sorted.
And I've yet to restore it.
Oh, this is in as you bought it condition?
Yes, as I bought it.
It's in pretty good order by the looks of it. I know nothing about that.
Nor do I.
Ah.
I just thought, well, Elaine's got a motorbike licence. And we're probably looking to buy a little Royal Enfield 350.
Yeah.
I haven't got a motorbike licence. And that's 98cc, 2-speed, 2-stroke, 1963.
Yeah.
Villiers Excelsior.
Bloody hell.
And I like it because it's old school.
Yeah.
Hardtail, sprung seat. You know, it's like got little sort of kick-out mirrors. You know, it's even got the...
A bullhorn.
Yeah, it even works. And summertime we'll be out on the road, I believe, and we've just got a... Elaine's possibly looking for... The repros are really nice. They're really modified. They don't shake the fillings out of your teeth. They're proper balanced crank 350. They're only about 20 horsepower or something like that. But they nip along quite swiftly.
Well, presumably that's not what you buy if you want to win the TT.
No,
so
that's correct.
It's a cruising around bike.
So, yeah, it'll just be something to do.
Yeah, because you haven't got much to do.
Well, Elaine's, the thing is, you've got to enjoy what you've got.
Oh, good grief, yes.
And Elaine's on about retiring in March.
Right.
So, if she's got the motorbike and I've got this, at least we can sort of, where we're living at the moment, there's so much going on around here, historically, and like sort of, let's say, what do they call them? Garden fetes and shows and...
I suppose every village round here has its little summer fete and whatnot, doesn't it?
Not only that, there's a massive following for motorbikes around here.
Okay.
And there's a big car enthusiasm.
Right, okay.
Around here. And it's quite actively, you could go to some sort of motorised small function. Yeah. Every weekend through the summer months.
Brilliant.
And even on the evenings at the local pubs, there's a gathering of people. Yeah, it's, we've got the famous Quat Calf, which is the other side of the river from where we are. Right. And on the weekend, the car park is just full of motorbikes.
Right, okay.
And then you do get the Butnote pub in Butnote, just down the road.
Don't know it, yeah.
It's like a free-for-all, cars, bikes, anything, tractors, everything. Yeah. And everybody turns up in vehicles.
Brilliant.
At the end of the day.
And it's all come on, come all sort of thing.
Yeah, so
I'm having that.
we'll be part of that scene this year, hopefully.
Brilliant.
And
Oh, how lovely. Well, you have some nice weather for it. And just out of interest, on this picture on the wall.
that is my first Ford Pop.
Wow. Yep, slot mags.
Global Blue.
Global Blue.
There was 13 gallon of lacquer went on that car.
Good God.
Yeah.
It must have weighed more than the rest of the car, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the Global flake was big and it was heavy.
Yeah.
And I've got to fill in all the low spots.
Ah, right.
Locked it back and then sprayed it again and so on.
And I'm just looking, is that a buttoned roof filler?
That's a false.
Right.
It's a steel roof, but then it had a pad on the top, which is false. But you can get away with it. They've got Wolf race wheels on the back and Cosmic wheels on the front.
There you go. I know a lot of people will be listening to that and going, oh, I remember them.
Mm-hmm.
And you say it's still around?
That, yes, it's still around today. I believe it's... He went through 3 paint jobs. He went a blue Global, fire engine red, to black with candy blue, candy purple flames on it.
Right, okay.
And then I think somebody painted it blue again.
Right.
They destroyed a real nice paint job, which Wayne Saunders did. The guy was telling you that he was doing jobs in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, yeah.
Next door's a Slingshot, the one I drive today.
Yeah, which will be familiar to a lot of
It is
people.
part of that tale again. I've done 199.89
Oh, here we go.
7.004, I think it is something.
Oh dear.
Not,
You're just a tease, aren't you? Yeah.
But I've got to come out next year and do it again, haven't I?
Yes.
Then if you follow me around a bit, into the living room.
Oh. All right, to just come through here, right?
Yeah, come through. Oops. There is me altered.
The famous hangar doors at Shaky, presumably. There we go. Ooh, let's see if we can get it with it. That'll be too much reflection on that, but yeah, I think a lot of people will be familiar with it anyway, won't they?
And I think I have. Yes, I have.
Oh,
The Buick 430
Wild Bunch 1.
WB1, and that was the Monica Oldberg chassis with another Buick engine in it.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which my wife used to drive in Wild Bunch at that time as well.
Right. Wow. And yet, Buick engines, so few and far between, always.
So reliable. Big torquey motors.
Yeah.
But back then, in early parts of drag racing, it was Oldsmobile Pontiac, wasn't it?
I suppose so,
Buick was a takeoff from those as well. So why shouldn't it work?
Fantastic.
That chassis there was the one that we repaired, me telling you about it.
Oh, with the
And those are the
method of
fish
people
plates.
jumping on it.
Them are the fish plates.
Oops. Cool. Nice. Okay. Right, I shall stop here. Right, well, we've had a good look round the the new gaff. How long have you been in this house now?
4.5 years.
Wow, okay. And yeah, enviable selection of garages and machines to work on. I will say thank you ever so much for letting us look round them, but before we go, I must ask, a couple of months ago, you were inducted into the Hall of Fame yourself.
Yes.
And yeah, that's a hell of a nice recognition for some decades of work.
Well, in truthfulness, when I accepted the award for the Wild Bunch Nostalgia Race Cars,
Yeah.
I thought that's the highest accolade. You don't get no better than that. And I am an emotional type person if you hit the right buttons.
Yeah.
And when Leslie Wright, who heads the British Drag Racing Hall of Fame, who has a big part in it, gave me the phone call, I gotta be honest, I was a bit tearful.
Right.
I got quite emotional. I'm a little bit emotional about it now. I never went out to sort of look for this type of honour. When I started out, I didn't even know it existed. I do know that in America, it's a massive thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously, when I got the phone call, I thought, wow. It's because you don't expect it. You do not expect it. And it's easy to say that, yeah. You do not expect it. Nobody knows until you get that phone call. And I feel very, very deeply honoured. Now, how it actually came home to me was that when Robin Reid comes up to you and shakes your hand, and you go, now I have a lot of respect for Robin Reid.
Yeah.
He's an individual.
Yeah, and
He's got that little Daimler car.
yeah, still running Daimler after all these years. And
you know, and then you get on the Facebook, you get Russ Carpenter, who sort of, and you get Dave Wilson come up to you.
yeah,
And I can go on and on and on. They're people I admire,
yeah,
you know, and you think, wow, this is a bit special. But you know, deep down, this really wouldn't happen. You know, Elaine, my partner, she's 110% behind me in everything that I do in this sport. And she's very supportive. She looks after all the logistics. She looks after all the entry fees, so on and so forth, which allows me to concentrate what I need to do, you know. And all I'm saying is a big thanks to everybody. And there's a few names I'm going to come into now.
please do.
The Wild Bunch, I have to take my hat off to my ex, Angela. She played a massive part in sort of within the Wild Bunch, which has gone totally unrecognised. And for that, I thank her. And obviously we moved on now. But all along this journey, I've had one real special person that's really helped me. And his name's Mark Luton. Mark Luton, he came to me when he was about 14 years of age. And back then you thought, whoa, hang on. Mark, this can't happen until your dad approves that you come round and work on the cars. This is when I got my Buick Nailhead.
Yeah.
And he's stopped with me now for 36 years.
Good God.
He was 14 when he came, he's 50 now. He's got kids I've seen from babies growing up and then in the 20s, 22, 25, some, you know, where time flies I do not know. But Mark Luton is one special person. I know when I had my sort of heart attack 5 years ago, he was the person round to make sure I was okay. And on a few other occasions, he was always there for me. For that, Mark, I really thank you, mate. You diamond, top drawer. I don't know, there's no words, Mark. Now, turn the clock back a bit. About 36 years, Tony Brace.
Right.
He's become a fantastic friend, lifetime friend with me. He helped me with the Buick way back. In fact, he's got a car of his own. It's a little 4-pot dragster from years ago. I keep on threatening I'm going to have it off him and renovate it. But, Tony has been with me with various cars over the years, over a 36-year period. Again, Tony, can't thank you enough, mate. leads me on then to Kevin Turrell. Now Kevin, he came to us about 16 years ago when I used to drive the S&K race car in
Right.
Super Pro for Roger Sinclair. And all the way through, Kevin has been there. Talk about a brain from memorabilia, names, dates, whatever. He's just there. But not only that, he come to us green as grass. He never used to use the spanners and everything now. Now, Mark has schooled him up, and I'm not a very trusting person when I've got people working on my car.
Right.
And I wholeheartedly trust Kevin in all the work that he's been taught to do on the race car. That goes for the same with Tony Brace as well. Then I got Harry Beezer and his wife. What lovely people they are. Met Harry 6-7 years ago at Futura Design, worked with him. Very, very switched on young lad. He's got classic Ford cars of his own.
Right.
He's cut the life out. He wants, obviously, things in life. He's got the job to get these things in life. But he gives heart and soul. Him and his wife. She's as good on the spanners as he is. And for that, Harry, I thank you. And that friendship goes back 7 years. We've got Ash. He's no longer with us, Ash, anymore, but what a character he is, like. And when Mark and Ash get together, and Ash does come back from time to time. Ash, I thank you, mate, for your services. Then recently we took on Andy Burgess.
Right.
Met Andy, basically, he was a spectator.
Right.
And he came along with Andy Hill. This must have been 4 years ago. And off the back of this spectators, Andy Hill used to drive a rear engine top alcohol car.
Okay.
He turned it over, unfortunately.
Ah, right.
He's still got the chassis now. He's going to restore it one of the days. I had the pleasure of building him in a big slingshot in the same vein as my own slingshot. Andy Hill and I become very good friends, but on the back of that, Andy Burgess asked if he could be part of the team.
Right.
And equally now he's got a proper place on that, and for that, Andy, I do thank you.
So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't have done much of this on your own, surely.
No, you can't do what I do just on your own. You have to rely on people. They give their time, they get on with the work, they don't whinge, they don't whine. They are in it because they want to do it.
Yes.
And this doesn't happen unless you've got a good team. And when we go to the start line, we like to think that we're putting on a show, not only just for the track, for the punters, you know, the people who pay to come through the gate. And it's not, the racing part of it is only a small thing. It's what happens up to the point of getting that car, to the logistics and everything. It's like a mammoth task, and one person can't do this on their own. And for that, again, I can't thank you guys enough.
Brilliant stuff. So there you go. Like I say, none of it's a solo effort. So the whole Hall of Fame thing, it's not just yours.
No, well, it's ever so funny that I can't pronounce the guy's name from Moon Eyes Equipment.
Oh, yeah. The guests this year, weren't
The
they?
guests this year, when they come up and say congratulations, and then you get to Ron Hope. He came up and congratulated me. In fact, Ron Hope congratulated me when I was out in Bakersfield on holiday.
Bloody hell.
Totally unexpected, and it's amazing the power of Facebook, internet.
Yeah.
How your name gets out there, like, and since the phone call from Leslie Wright, didn't know there was people out there who was as interested as they are about me.
Or the whole scene in the UK. I mean, they do get some amazing guests come over to that award ceremony, don't they?
Oh,
like
it's
you say,
fantastic.
Ron Hope.
It's fantastic.
Wow. Yeah.
I can go a little step further than Randy Bradford when he came to England.
Yeah.
I think I was the only one in the country who'd got a distributor drive lying on the shelf.
Oh, for the for his pop, for his Out Langley, wasn't it?
No, for the Topolino.
Oh,
When he bought
yes,
the all altered when he came over. And Stuart from US Automotive, he says, Roy, I understand you've got a distributor drive in your garage in Albury. I says, well, go and get it, Stu, if you want to. I says, if somebody can drive me to Albury, bring it back, Randy could have the drive. And he says, well, I'll take you. So he gets in this big truck of his.
Yeah.
I don't think his foot came off the floor from Santa Pod to Albury. I've never been to Albury so quick and back in my life. Anyway, we got Randy up and going, and even to this day I go to Bakersfield, and Randy always thanks me if I'm there.
Wow.
Because he would have had a wasted journey for the sake of a distributor drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Ape of the Tar for that trip. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some good experience. I've been privileged to go to Bakersfield for about 15, 16 times. The tin signs around the workshop.
Yeah.
My favourite place at the moment is Malta. I'm into the Malta drag racing scene. I do like that.
Yeah, I was hoping to have gone this year and failed.
It's a must to do on the calendar.
Yeah.
Elaine and I are going twice this year.
Right.
Because America's got very dear and we can't justify the amount of money we're spending. So we decided to dilute it a bit. And what money we would have spent in America, we can afford to have 2 holidays in Malta, and then we just got to find somewhere. Germany, my Hockenheim might be the third race holiday. I haven't done Hockenheim. Elaine's done Hockenheim.
Yeah.
I haven't done Hockenheim. Excuse me. It's drag racing ain't a bad life.
Absolutely. And you seem to have made plenty of friends and enjoyed plenty of years at it.
Oh, definitely.
So on that note, we shall wind this up. Do you know when you're going to be out first next year, or are you just going to see how it goes?
Definitely about Nostalgia National. The plan is Nostalgia Nationals.
Right.
Hot Rod Drags, Mopar Nationals.
Yeah.
Dragstalgia.
Right.
I think I've been talking to Wayne Allman, and I think I'm going to have a crack at the Cannonball at Dragstalgia.
Brilliant. Nice one.
I like racing Wayne.
Yes.
We've had some real close racing with Wayne. And not only is Wayne a competitor, he's a good friend as well.
Yes.
And one hell of a craftsman.
Oh, isn't he just? And is that in his Volkswagen bus, the mental breakdown?
Volkswagen mental breakdown, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
that must be a sight to see, those two going down together.
I just... Wayne's just a good all-round person at the end of the day. But I just like racing against Wayne. I think he gets my goat and I get his goat. And win or lose, it doesn't matter. Win or lose, it doesn't. It's one of those.
That's the way it should be. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Well, in that case, we'll wind it up right here. So thank you ever so much, Roy. It's been a grand afternoon. It's nearly dark now. Yeah. And you'll be able to see Roy out in 2024 at the meetings he's just mentioned. And best of luck to you. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you very much, Dave. Thank you.